What's up, pretty people? It's me, Chris Bromley, and my good friend Sam Tate. We're here at round 2 of day 1 of the World Championship. How's it going, Sam? How you feeling?
It's going pretty good. We just got to watch Barlow clinch up round 1 with a good 2-0 victory, playing good old Zeke Yeager. Barlow, definitely a life symbol fan.
Yes.
Played life symbol pretty much all year, up including the World Championship. And we've got another specialist of a kind. We've got a character specialist coming up in this next round for you guys. We've got a very exciting matchup. We've got Hawks versus Mark Tyner. And Hawks, of course, is going to be played by none other than Ryan Levine.
Yeah, Ryan Levine's been playing Hawks since release, basically, right? A friend of Mitchell Chimino, guy who has a character card. Ryan has been playing Hawks on the order symbol originally, I think, and then moved on.
I think he's played all three.
The whole, but he's played all. That's what I was going to say. Is that he's not just a specialist of the characters, one symbol, but he's played them all at some point, experimenting with them, because this is the guy he likes to play, and he does it really well. We've seen some of the adaptations here, right? Going from, back in the day we had Funny Punch coming through, but now we've got this blood-sucking universe. Correct me if I'm wrong.
That's a great name, yeah. No. You're
Blood-Sucking Universe. I really like setting the standard in this deck, and Superfly Stomp also doing incredible work. Little tech pieces, and of course, substituting the old Funny Punch, we've got the Big Fist Bash that's going to be able to loop some of those mid attacks. And defensively, we've got all sorts of really cool stuff that we can do, right? Changing the zone to high makes it so that our good stuff with showdowns, right? Fierce Wings, all sorts of these incredible blocks are going to be a lot more effective, okay? And I think we're not even going to go into we're just going to go straight into the game here. Tam we're going through the other deck list. Okay, excellent. We've got Basil P playing Mark Tyner. This is a character that I haven't personally seen in play yet, so I'm really excited to go into it and see what it does. Do you have any experience watching it or playing it?
So not against this specific version of Mark Tyner. I've seen the Mark Tyners that have all 4 checks. I've seen the Mark Tyners that don't play any 4 checks. This seems to obviously be a mix of both here. We've got the Colossal Confrontation, which a lot of people talked about Colossal Confrontation being gate-capped by Sweeping Daggers. But in my personal opinion, all of those high difficulty attacks are just as equally gate-capped by Filled with Doubt. So it's very interesting. We haven't seen these high difficulty cards really have any success over the last couple regionals. They basically had their one heyday. You saw some high difficulty cards in the Zeke Yeager list back in, the Louisianas of the world. But I'm very, very excited to see Colossal Confrontation back, because I was promised, Bromley, that when Sweeping Daggers was banned, we were going to see all these high difficulty cards come back into the fold, and I have not been a believer. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited for Pale Rider. I think Pale Rider is one of the most underrated cards in the format currently. The ability to echo something by clearing any attack from your card pool is incredibly, incredibly strong. You do still have to pay the drive cost, which is why a lot of people are not onto it yet. But these are 2 Patchwork Baby decks that are going to be going at it. They're going to be counting all the keywords in their card pool. And this Mark Tyner deck, of course, has tons and tons of ways to commit your foundations to keep you debuilt. We've got the Imprisoned down there to keep your foundations in prison to make sure that they don't get activated. And both decks have Team Dr. Ichigaki in them. So this is probably going to be a race to see who can draw the really important cards from their deck first, but they are the same cards, right?
Yeah, I think crucially, right, Hawks finds his feathers kind of naturally, right, by playing the game, and Mark Tyner's, piloted by Basil, is going to be using the confrontations, right, the Colossal Confrontations, to find the important cards, right? I think the kind of winner of the post-Sweeping Dagger format are decks that play Patrick Baby. If you want to talk about big difficulty cards being, gate kept by it, Patrick Baby was a card I remember Ryan Levine playing and saying, yeah, it's just not legal to play this card while Sweeping Daggers is in the format, right? A 3-mid 1/5 difficulty is it has those statistics because it has unfair abilities on it. And when you get to staple that onto a 4 diff that starts at 5 mid 4, right, it just becomes absurd, right? And so with Sweeping gone from this format, we see both of these decks playing 4 copies of Patchwork Baby. I think the name of this game is not necessarily going to be who gets their pieces first, but who gets to break through the opponent's pieces, right? Who can navigate the minefield that is opposing decks, right? 4 copies of Yeetus Deletus to deal with on Mark Tyner's side, and all of those incredibly powerful, very, very potent high blocks on the side of Ryan. So it's going to take a string, regardless of whoever it is, right?
Yeah, I think the really interesting thing for me as far as who can break through the opponent's wall first is Mark Tyner has really, really strong check hacks.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people forget there's also the check bonus. So I think Mark Tyner can get activated a little bit earlier in this matchup because, committing a unique asset for +2 to a bonus is really, really good. Committing a unique foundation to count as 2 foundations is really, really good and can help you get started, past that colossal confrontation much earlier in the game. But on the flip side, the check hack is probably going to be a little bit weaker because Hawks' signature attack is
only
one difficulty.
Yeah.
And you're probably not going to get much out of hacking a check to play a Hawk's Feather probably ever. So I think that'll be really interesting to see how does Mark Tyner adapt to potentially very high damage moves being played at them with only 1 difficulty.
Yeah, I think both of these players also, their turn 1s, playing a little greedier, right, with high difficulty foundations, right? Ryan choosing to commit Hawks, right, because we feel safe, right? With only 3 foundations and 1 asset, and we've seen each other's deck lists, right? High difficulty moves that are going to require full strings to, I can imagine a Colossal Confrontation being played into the Street Fighter card. This is a new one to Pale Rider. Into Pale Rider is probably incredibly potent, right? On turn 6. Right. This turn, right, we're probably going to see either a build that or a single poke into something else. And here's a Patrick Baby, the great poke, stun 2, pretty effective on turn 1.
Yeah, I think this is one of the ones you love to lead off with early on in a game. Later in a game, you want to play it later in the string, where the damage becomes a little bit more reliable. Really quick, I got to point out though. Both these players are committing a crime right now in my book, Bromley.
Okay.
And that is we got the assets up next to the characters. I've never been an asset next to character guy. I've always been an asset in the stage guy.
I mean, to me, the biggest crime is putting the characters in the center.
Oh, I don't hate that as much. It looks visually good here, but you're right, I've never done that. I've always been a top left.
Yeah, my attacks come from my character, right? Is the way that
I don't know. Maybe the person who taught me the game just did it that way, and I just followed their lead forever. But
it's cool. I mean, you can see these playmats are very clearly made with that in mind, right? Like, here's where our characters go, here's where our card pool goes, and here's where our foundations go.
Here's where the stage is, and what goes in the stage? Probably assets.
Assets go in the stage. They don't go in the character zone. Okay, so here we go. We see a use of this.
The King of Illyria.
King of Illyria is a card that I think was slept on when it first came out, at least for my locals, right? But I also didn't see it in many lists. Partially because order was not favored, right? But says add this card to your hand, right? So get yourself a 2 high block, add 1 committed Rifle Foundations from their stage to their hand. And if you've played a Roman Cancel ability this turn, this ability has a Tenacious.
So I think the fact that it only targets committed Rival Foundations makes it feel like it is not a potent targeted removal ability, right? It's not targeting something that is currently very useful. However, the fact that you can just rebuild it, the fact that you are going to just play the 1 diff again, and you get to continuously play through that loop, that cycle, and of course for Mark Tyner, it's a 1 difficulty unique card, which is really important for the deck.
Yep.
It becomes a lot stronger, but you're right. I think it is slept on just because it's not really targeted removal. It is a long-term macro play. Targeted removal is a micro play where you get to delineate in the immediacy, how the gameplay is going. But the macro resource advantage over many, many turns of the King of Illyria basically denying your rival a review, right? It's 1 less card that they can review and draw up to. They have to rebuild that foundation over and over again. And you having control of the effect and when you rebuild is a little bit stronger.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that we're going to be putting probably this Botan's coaching into Ryan's hand on this turn if we resolve an attack, right? And so it's just accrued value for a character who loves to keep you in the early game, right?
Right.
-2 to your check matters a lot when you have 4 foundations. It matters not so much when you have 20, right? And so we can. I really like one difficulty unique foundations. I think people look at
we
spam.
should have more of them.
I think we should have more, right? Single use, right? Or in this case, right, kind of like a butter churning card, right? Cards like this and House of Cards, I really love to play with, and so I'm happy to see it on the board.
Yeah, but now we've got Blue Flame Tournament, a little bit of a throwback back. Was it MHA 06
Yeah.
on there?
Yeah.
Long time ago, Blue Flame Tournament still staying relevant. Forces the rival to make a bunch of checks, right? Something that Mark Tyner is willing to prey on at any moment, and then it'll give you a check bonus, which is going to allow you to play this pretty high difficulty lineup. I mean, we've got Behemoth Typhoon as a 6 diff. We've got Pale Riders, Patchwork Babies, that 5 diffs you like to play later in a turn, and of course, I'm still waiting for Colossal Confrontation. I don't know if we can do it with this few
Not with
cards
this board.
stage,
Not with this board.
But it's, so you play it on a 10, you check a 6, you commit Illyria for 8, 9, 10, you get to keep Tyner up.
Well, you could do it with
believe.
Blue Flame is a great opener for it, right? Because as Ryan, right, I wouldn't want to commit any cards because of the threat, right, of the King of Illyria, right? And so you may just end up getting +2 to your check, which means that the Colossal Confrontation is functionally an 8 diff, right? Which, with we do play 3 checks in this deck, so I don't know if it'd be safe, per se. But, yeah, I don't think we're going for it.
All I'm saying is, if I get +4 to my check, I'm playing the Confrontation.
Yeah.
If I check a 3, I commit out, we're passing it.
Yeah, and so you see here, we are still continuing to pick apart Ryan's borders this weekend. We used the Aegis Deletus earlier on it wasn't a Strength and Beauty. I missed the foundation that we used Aegis Deletus on, but we did end up using the King of Illyria on the extra Botans coaching that was committed. But yeah, this is you can kind of see what the intent is here, right? To prey upon those aggressive decks that are not building out very effectively. Unfortunately, the downside is that if you are not keeping up with your opponent or staying ahead of them, you can fall behind, right? As we're seeing here, it looks like Ryan went first.
Kind of, yeah, getting outbuilt, but double imprisoned is going to do a lot of work. It's going to open up the King of Illyria plays because Imprisoned says after your rival's ready step, commit one of their foundations. So now, not only are you going to be able to deny Ryan his best foundation at the start of every one of his turns, you're now going to also make those cards applicable targets for the King of Illyria. However, King of Illyria really goes crazy, really becomes an all-star once you use the Roman cancel ability.
Yeah, because then it's tenacious.
Yeah, and the only way that we're going to get to do that is by playing Behemoth Typhoon as an attack. So Roman cancel tokens probably not going to come into play too much. Probably not going to get to see the tenacious side of it, but we see stun 2 at the start of your turn, pretty strong effect.
I do think you have to be careful, right? Sometimes it's better to have foundations ready to block with, right? Something like a poke becomes less palatable for blocking, right?
Well,
so
you
we
have to stun 2 yourself.
So it's not free, right? It's a 4 difficulty 4 check foundation, right? It's but if you have tons of these effects together, right? $500 sunglasses types effects, right? It can be pretty cool, and something that I think it's so neat to see the order symbol doing. Hey, I'm going to do a thing that forces you to do a thing, right?
It's very funny to me that that's the effect you
I love $500 sunglasses. Okay,
no, that card only has 1 damage tax to me. It only has the attack deals 1.
No, you didn't play with my locals. I had an order local who that was all he wanted to do. Continues to all he wants to do is do effects with like $500. Oh my God! He said I'm gonna get my own King of Illyria.
In fairness, I'm a super boomer. $500 sunglasses in my book is Clark's sunglasses.
Whoa, you've outboomed me.
Yeah, I outboomered you by a few years.
Yeah.
First card I ever traded for Clark's sunglasses. Actually,
really?
Yep.
First card I ever traded for was like Hyperbomb and a million other Mega Man rares. We talked about this last night.
I traded a Hyperbomb for Clark sunglasses, and I got I got burned over the coals. The guy was like, "Oh, dude, I'll trade you 2 ultra rares for a rare," and I was like, "Oh, what a steal!"
What
And
a
it's like
steal.
two $2 ultra rares for a $15 rare. I got
Right.
burned so bad.
Dang.
Don't do that to your locals when they're first.
Yeah, give
learning
them
the
more
game.
than they deserve, actually.
Yeah, don't
Yeah.
burn your locals on trades.
Well, and so we this is kind of funny, right? We are on turn 3, right? It looks like turn 2 boards actually, but because of the King of Illyria plays, right? Debuilding ourselves to debuild our opponents, right? Imprison to commit our opponent's stages. We're really trying to keep our opponent down, right? We're saying, "Hey, stay down there. I liked you when you were down there," but Mark crucially only has right a single copy of King of Illyria and oh my gosh, and House of Cards. There's the other one difficulty unique foundation that I like so much. Man, what a cool board. What a cool board we got here. I think we're going to have a pretty cool game. Do we poke? Do we build? Do we want to be playing into this King of Illyria again? I think you feel pretty safe just building.
I think most Mark Tyner players don't like to attack until the rival is overextended.
Yeah.
And that is not something you're going to see this Hawks deck do. And it's probably not something you're going to see Ryan Levine do. He's probably not going to attempt a string until he feels pretty confident. But, oh my goodness, we got the play set.
Well, and so here's the funny thing about this King of Illyria back and forth is that now we have Imprisoned. That card's likely going to be committed down for a while, right? And so the 3 best cards, or I would, if I were me, right, I would target Feather Control, I would target One Man Inferno, and I would target the King of Illyria, right?
You mean new number 1?
New number? Oh, is it number 1?
Yeah.
Oh, which one's One Man Inferno? Is that the zero div?
That's the zero.
Okay, zero div. Okay. This because I didn't pick it in the pack one pick one last night. I'm being punished for it. Yeah. The new number 1.
That was his cube, actually.
Yeah,
that was Basil's cube.
And in Hawks, actually, he gets the alternate ability, right, to unseal something too.
Yeah, pro hero.
Because he's a pro hero.
He's a pro hero and a villain.
And a villain. Ooh. And he has that one card that has both enhances on it.
Yeah, which is called like number 1 pro hero, but it has a villain ability on it.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, he's like number 23 or 3. Number 2? He's number 2?
He's
the number 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
I never remember the numbers.
Thanks, Tam. It is in the deck. I think he has a couple of copies. Put it on the screen. Put it on the screen, Sam. Number 2. Number 2 pro hero. But the number 1 villain in our hearts, ladies and gentlemen.
It's funny, too. He's got a microphone.
Hey, there it is. It's on screen now.
We got to watch. Hey, that's pretty. Dude, the caster curse? Or what do you call it when it's not like actually a curse, when you're just psychic?
You call him psychic, I guess.
Yeah, the caster premonition.
Yeah.
It is funny to see Hawks with the microphone on number 2 pro hero. And we just got to watch Levi do like the whole keynote speech with the microphone.
Yeah. I really like the XRs from set 6 and 7 of My Hero.
It seemed like they finally came into their own, and then they discontinued.
And then they stopped making XRs. Yeah.
I can't believe we stopped doing like foil variants of every card.
Yeah,
That's something people love. They love to have a completely foiled deck.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
it helps me sell commons. No, like unironically, it made like I would pull a foil card. I'm like, I can get $1 for this.
It was
like,
definitely
easy.
good when I had the store, right? Because
Yeah.
we could open boxes and have value no matter what. In the newer boxes,
That's what I'm saying.
it can
Like,
feel really great to pull, like, a huge alt art, right? And you are guaranteed to get alt arts, but some of the alt arts are a little, undervalued.
I got a local who's trying to get the all foil. Well, let's talk about this game. We'll talk about that later. Let's talk about Blue Flame Tournament,
another
'cause we
Blue
got
Flame
some
Tournament.
action happening.
We don't have too many uniques on board is the thing, right? Tyner doesn't feel as online as I wanted him to be, right? We used those Udis Deletises pretty early, right? So we weren't able to just
Pretty aggressively, yeah.
And so we've basically just got 2 uniques to help us with our checks and, mess with our opponents, right? So not a whole lot of functional speed coming down here. And with your finish on Ryan's board, it's
Deadlock
not going to
is
feel.
illegal.
Yeah, you don't want to go to deadlock.
At the very least, those become the imprisoned targets.
Yes.
And if not, your finish commits imprisoned on your turn. And this
100%.
is essentially, it looks like 2 order decks. I know the Mark Tyner's on evil.
Yeah.
But a ton of these cards are order as well. A ton of these cards are order attuned.
Yeah.
And so both of these decks have less permanent, more ephemeral ways to interact with the board. And we're seeing Basil kind of, like you talked about with the Edis Deletas, kind of have to sell out to use the more permanent effects. I mean, even King of Illyria is not truly permanent. Right?
Yeah. It's just putting a wrench in somebody's bicycle chains,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. It's like a one-turn timeout.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't.
Getting the other. Oh my God, that's so funny. One of the things that is kind of crucial in this matchup, right, where we're trying to keep each other down, is the hacker extraordinaires. It's probably the reason why we use those Yeetus deletes so soon. It's because hacker extraordinaire says, as long as I have a momentum, your assets are kind of illegal, and I can force you into deadlock, right? I can make you play more foundations than you want to, and the because of the way that the game will develop, right? It's one of my favorite things when you play a lot of high value foundations that have text on them. Each one of these imprisons is going to get less and less value. You're just going to accrue too many threats, right?
Yeah.
Too many foundations to hold down, right? And that's why you want to have many layers of defense when you're playing a deck like Hawks and like Mark Tyner, right? You see a lot of 4Xs, a lot of 2 and 3Xs of cards that are going to allow you to, survive into the later turns, not only because seeing one is okay, but also because when your opponent has access to seal or target commit or ways to, deal with your card, having many, many layers of those things is what's going to guarantee your safety, right? One hacker extraordinaire, no. Two hacker extraordinaire, though, right? That means that I have to use 2 of my 3 imprisons to even deal with it. And it's tenacious, right?
I was gonna say,
the irrelevant ability
part-
is tenacious, but if you don't want them to get the momentum, right?
Yeah, the good part on hacker is tenacious anyways.
100%. Oh, yeah.
I think
100%.
is gonna end up being a really big deal here because we saw the King of Illyria come out. It hit a different foundation entirely, and it's not gonna feel that good, when you're just choosing what your rival is leaving available to you. And with the 4 imprisoned out, we should have our pick of the litter. And I don't know, I think dealing that poke damage and giving up the momentum for the hackers might have actually been a mistake. I feel like as Mark Tyner here, you have to become incredibly aggressive because all that momentum becomes insane cash outs for Patchwork Baby and Walk the Dog.
Yeah, you have to be, and also they're just fuel for Hawks to draw more cards if he wants to flex it that way with the hackers, right? Even if you don't have assets, we could just, and we see it here, we can just draw a card instead. Oh, nope, never mind. We're thinking about which momentum to discard using the 1-man Inferno. But here we see the first Pale Rider of the game. I understand it now, right? Blue Flame Torment into Pale Rider. Or the Colossal. It's just a great second card, right, for a lot of these openers in the deck. But with as many imprisons as we have on our board, like, what cards are you going to want to commit to do this Pale Rider thing, right, for the drive effect? I guess we have the momentum for it.
I was going to say, yeah, you can spend the momentum, which is kind of nice. You basically get the same thing as Echo plus clearing the card pool.
Yeah.
But we also, Hawks, we haven't even talked about Hawks' ability to zero out an attack, right? To swap stats, reduce the speed to 0, and then just reduce an attack's damage to 0 by swapping the speed and damage. Pale Rider is really cool for playing around that because of the Echo. It means you have to deal with both versions, both playing of the attack here.
I can't see the health on the board. I think we're at 18. I'm not quite sure exactly what, but I know we took that last move, and I think we used Hawks' ability to swap it out. I wonder why the feather went into the discard pile. Is there any effect that you can see that would discard it from the card pool? Certainly not Strength and Beauty.
Maybe he attempted to block with it and failed?
Oh, that might be it.
That's my best guess.
Oh, look, feather.
You can lose. A lot of new Hawks players lose because they don't review the feathers. And by review the feathers, usually, you have to block with them. If you actually just add 2 feathers to your hand and then just review 1, your hand gets clogged with feathers. And while
you could have the magical Christmas land thing of having setting the standard with them, but it's not clearly not what Ryan is relying upon, right, for his moves. Oh wow. Okay, well here's that Behemoth Typhoon.
Yep,
the only tension move, right?
Yep. We're now going to get access to that Roman Cancel token, which can potentially make the King of Illyria much, much stronger.
Yeah, this is such a high risk move, though, right? It was on a 7. We changed zone to low somewhere.
We immediately spent the Roman Cancel.
Oh, use the Roman Cancel. Okay. And it does have a response saying after you commit 3 or more cards to pass the check to play this card, your rival commits 2 foundations, right? But we saw that we just, we spent our whole board to force our opponent to do this, right? And Ryan still has a ton of cards in hand, and not only that,
we're using one right now, Fierce Wings, to go pick up any card we want. I got to imagine it's a low block of some kind.
Yeah.
So we've got the Student of Tung Fu Ru, one of the new KOF cards here, one of the ones that I like the most. I think it's a very, very fair card, I guess you could say.
Okay.
But the important thing here is just that it's a +2 low block. the text is cool.
Yeah, this is another fun, unique card to me, right?
Right.
Yeah, and it feeds itself, right? It's kind of like the response is a question that gets answered by the top enhance. But it takes you out of deadlock. It can give you crucial amounts of speed. For Hawk specifically, it's kind of nuts, right? Because it's +2 or -2 speed on as many attacks as you like.
Plus or minus. There is a ton of cards, especially on the air symbol, my favorite symbol, where I can destroy a foundation for +1 speed. There's not a lot of ways to destroy one for -1 speed.
Right.
And there's almost no cards that do both. That do plus and minus.
Yeah, we have like Dance Routine from set 6 as well, was playable on with Good Hawks.
Good, yeah.
Which is what I played back in my day. But yeah, we're seeing here this cool little good card being used to block with. But you can see why it's in Hawks, right? Just because of how much value you can get out of +1s and -1s. They feel great in Hawks, right? Because you're getting double the value. If you're getting -4 speed and then you add -5 speed, you're only getting, at that point, 25% extra, right? But 100% increase in what you're doing or decrease in what you're doing feels immense.
And now I think we're going to see the tide turning. This is maybe not necessarily a corner.
Oh, yeah. Ryan has a giant board.
But the issue here is we committed our imprisons offensively.
Yep.
So we now no longer get the control element of denying our rival resources on their turn. We didn't get any momentum. We don't have a Roman cancel token. So King of Illyria is not that important. I don't even know. Do we have 2 uniques ready? Is there another unique card there, or is it just one?
I think it's just the King of Illyria.
Yeah, so Mark Tyner not even have access to the twice per turn. This is the crack in the door. This is where Ryan's got to at least put his foot in the door to keep it open. And the stun to start things off is going to be an absolutely fantastic way to do that. What we want to see after this now, though, is we got to see us setting the standard to make those Hawk's Feathers
huge,
really potent, right?
Yeah.
Make them truly devastating. We're going to need to buff a lot of damage onto them.
Yeah, I mean, this is as good as an opener as you can get for this specific board state. We see Basil is using this. This is what's this card we just committed? It's a 1 diff. On Basil's side, the Lone Ranger?
The long version?
The long version. Okay, this is a foreign one to me. I've not seen this card before.
It's not played that often. It's a -2 speed.
Oh, it's a -2 or
but
-3.
if you had spaghetti keywords, you get -3.
That's pretty good. I mean, all is just not a very popular symbol.
Of all of the -2 speed, if something happens -3 speed, this is one of the best ones.
Yeah, that's a good card. I like the art.
Yeah,
it's very striking on this board.
Most of the cards, they're -2 speed, and if it has a specific symbol.
Of all the cards to block a feather. Wow.
Well, he enhanced with the feather, I believe, for speed.
Okay. I've completely lost the plot on I went the opposite direction for
Yeah, I don't know.
I think we're at 22, right? We had the plus damage from itself. Patrick Baby by itself gets to how much damage? 8?
5.
5? Okay,
And then you get the Hawk's keyword, the Hawk's Feather keywords.
Let's say 5.
Which I believe Hawk's Feather is 2.
Okay, we took 3 from that one. We're doing some guesswork here, okay, fellas?
Yeah, unfortunately, this game was pre-recorded, so we can't just ask them to
move the
health totals over.
Yeah, we'll move it on for our next.
Hopefully, in future rounds, we'll have the health total tracker on screen.
Yeah, but here we go, moving blitzkrieg fast for this one. Gonna go pick up our Patrick Babies with the Big Fist Bash,
and that's gonna spell absolute disaster. The writing's on the wall. We're committed out. Patrick Baby has a bazillion momentum. Behind it to pump itself up. And Basil says, let's not waste any time in this round because these games are going to go long.
Yeah.
These are not going to be quick games. These players are going to have to build up pretty substantial boards. But what can we see from the sideboard that could come into play?
Well, so I think. Do you think Decay Awaken comes in for Basil? He's still going first, right?
I think the Decay Awakened could be cool, but I don't think it really solves the problem.
Okay.
I think that a big thing about Hawks is if you can attack him early before he gets access to the feathers, he gets a little bit weaker, right? He doesn't have his full power.
Right.
If you Decay Awakened, you are essentially saying we're going to start from turn 1, except I go second,
Yeah.
and you get 2 feathers.
And you get 2 feathers.
And now, instead of it being turn 1, you can attack with those feathers.
Right.
So you could see a turn where Decay Awakened happens, and then Ryan builds 4 foundations, and then plays a feather on a 5, and like a feather on a 6. And while they're easily blockable, you know, those are cards that you'll have to deal with in some way or another. Now, I don't think it's likely that exact sequence happens, but I have seen crazier things in this game.
Well, and on Ryan's side, I could see something like Filled with Doubt and the Genkais coming in, right? I think that Filled with Doubt is pretty good when your opponent's playing big difficulty moves, big swingy 5 diffs and 6 diffs, right? Oh, sorry. Sam needed a tissue and he was signaling to it, but I'm stupid. You know, I was like, yeah, he's pointing at me because I'm pretty. But I think Filled with Doubt is going to be pretty crucial here. We only have one on the sideboard, maybe one main boarded from there. No, none main boarded. But yeah, these sideboards are very directed at specific things that they are afraid of in the format. 4 Great Bucklers in Basil's sideboard, pretty clearly pointed at things like Mikasa, right? Who are going to be trying to get a bunch of cards out of the card pool. Not something that Ryan's doing, right? And then on
we just saw a play where Great Buckler would have been absolutely impressive.
Yeah, tons of momentum,
which is but if you spend the momentum to cancel the Great Buckler, can you kill with the Patchwork Baby?
Okay, that's fair. Okay. I respect
Great
what
Buckler's not one of the best answers, but it is the kind of thing where if you throw a wrench into the amount of resources a player has, you know, it can definitely change the math a little bit. So Great Buckler's not one of the...
I'll allow it.
It's not one of the best answers in the format.
Yeah,
but...
well, I was just thinking about how they're pointed at not each other, right?
Right. Yeah.
And like Violent Animus Shot, right? Another move that is perhaps not pointed at something like Mark Tyner, right? It's more towards the backup decks that could be in the format, right?
True.
And it's interesting to see the progression of how Hawks has adapted for the past 2 years of his legality, right? Where we used to see a lot more of Hawks' individual moves, and as we get to the kind of the late stage Hawks, right? We've pretty much only got feathers, right? Feathers are the only attacks that are from his own kit, right? We've replaced them with things like Walk the Dog. We replaced them with things like the Patrick Baby, right? Big Fish Bash, picking up the feathers instead of making the feathers miss progressive, right? Mm-hmm. And so it's cool. It's cool to see that as more and more sets come out, right? The spread of like what gets used becomes thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner and thinner, right?
My best guess is in the beginning, the offense was centered around playing the feathers as attacks.
Right.
I don't think that's as relevant for Ryan's deck.
Right.
You know, I think Ryan's got a setup
using
where
it as speed.
Yeah, I think we're using it mostly as speed control, kind of as a 3 difficulty action.
Right.
But with that one copy of setting the standard, the ability to flex them into really powerful attacks is really nice. So
yeah, if Christmas arrives and you get it all, then cool,
right.
You can do it. But yeah, another pretty solid build, I'll say, from Basil, and a good solid response from Ryan. So I think we're gonna see a regular game. See who can adjust the most here in game 2. Okay, getting rid of the Luke attack, Pale Rider. I think this is a build. From what I can tell, we've got a Pale Rider. We've got a... Oh, okay, no, we could just go for the Blue Flame, dude. Go for it. Slam 'em, I suppose. Oh, I think our hand just has a lot of attacks in it.
Which,
I mean,
if you've got the bonuses to the checks,
yeah,
that could be a recipe for success. I talked about how, you want to get on top of Hawks before he gets access to those feathers. realistically, later in the game, Hawks is an 8-hander. So if you can start attacking him before he can generate those extra resources, leverage that card advantage, you're in a much better spot. And the less foundations the rival has, the better Mark Tyner's response is.
True.
So I think with a +2 to hour check and maybe a -2 on a block, we can set ourselves up for some success early that will snowball into success later in the game.
Yeah, I mean, we're trying to churn the butter in the same sort of way we did in the first game, but again, behind on foundations, right? You want to do this while ahead.
You want to do it while it's while ahead, and you want to do it while you have more unique cards in play.
Yes.
My personal take is, Barrett and I talked about how King of Illyria is a little slept on, how a lot of people don't pay it too much respect. But I think it really unlocks its potential when you can play it tenacious.
Right.
And that's something neither of these decks are really focused on.
Yeah,
Both
they're
decks
not
have
interested in doing that.
like a tension attack, but they're not focused on Roman canceling enough that King of Illyria is playable while committed a lot. And so I just feel like it's not really the tempo play that you're looking for.
Yeah, I don't think it matters right this second, right? You don't want to stimmy Ryan's build too much right now. You want to enable your own, right?
Right.
And so in that specific situation, I think we just had 3 attacks in our hand, so why not do it? It makes perfect sense, but yeah,
Right.
it's
The
just,
fact that you get to rebuild it is a big deal.
Yeah.
That makes it quote unquote free.
yeah. But I would not want Basil to use it right now, because Ryan will just respond by building the card again, and they'll get ahead again, right? Assuming that Ryan opens with an attack, I think Ryan will probably just build. From what I can see from his hand.
Building is the odds-on favorite. If we were on a sports betting app,
Yeah, I mean, you're
it
ahead.
would be, yeah,
Yeah,
3-to-1 odds that we just build out. But definitely contemplating something here. Not sure if it's block mod or block zones to hold, or if it's an attack. But incompatible quirks, that's a windmill slam every time I draw it.
Yeah, this is a card that well, okay. Last year I saw Travis lose a game because he was overusing it. And I've seen some people underuse it, be afraid to press the button, right? And so this is a high skill card, I think, to play around, where you can be a little gun shy with using it in certain situations where you could be, accruing value over the course of a turn in terms of its speed, and also for just, its ability to pass checks, right? But also sometimes, not using it or using it too much, right? Where you fall behind your opponent. Like, imagine yourself in a situation where you're already behind on foundations and you're using it just to survive, right?
You're using it to lose later.
Yeah,
you're losing
exactly.
slower.
You're delaying the inevitable at that point. And so that's I wonder how Ryan is going to use the card. Is my question, right?
Yeah.
Is he going to be skillful enough to use it?
We've got the -3 speed from the feathers. Respond with Hawks for -1. Every time the speed gets modified, Hawks can respond to give +1 or -1 speed to the attack. So kind of adding a little bit of extra oomph to all your speed regulating, or it might be once per enhanced step, but a little more oomph to your speed control pieces. And I would not be surprised if we see a swap come out to make this
this
just
one
deal no
I think
damage.
we took one, right? It got -4 speed. It's printed 5 speed.
Yep.
So we took 1 damage. We kept up with it this time.
Yeah, I think we'll be able to get him to move the life tracker on screen pretty soon. I think we'll get that fixed
Yeah.
sooner than I expected, at least.
And so this is sort of what you want to see with your Kings of Illyria, right? Is you want to debuild 2, build them back up plus, well, ideally more than 1, right?
Yeah.
But +1 here is fine, right? It looks like we're still gripping. It looks like 2 colossal confrontations in hand,
Yeah,
and the Pale Rider.
we've
3?
We've
I
got
think it's 3.
2 momentum next turn.
Yeah.
So we're set up pretty good to start spending it on things like Echo.
Yeah.
Things like the drive from Pale Riders.
So what I could see, right, if things don't go awry, is Colossal Confrontation into Pale Rider, right? But we already have one in hand. Colossal Confrontation can go dig up a Pale Rider. We can have a pretty explosive turn. On the flip side, we see here that Ryan is going to be opening with, I think this is Blood-Sucking Universe. This is the one that we laughed at the name of earlier.
It is kind of a funny name.
It's a tension throw, right? This is why it's a UR. Is because it's a throw that generates its own momentum on play, right? and then it has an on-damage effect. I think this is like an innocuous sort of 5 difficulty throw that, again, is kind of underplayed for how good it is.
I think a lot of people read the word counters
Yeah.
and they go, oh, well, my character doesn't add counters. Why would I play this? But the big thing for me is it gives you the roaming cancel.
Yep.
And then the best way to use a roaming cancel defensively, the best uses require second momentum.
Yeah, and it does
And
that.
the throw keyword is going to give you that second momentum very reliably most of the time. So
Yeah.
to me, being able to automatically stack up the defensive damage reset for the roaming cancel is really, really strong. And the response speed at which you can do the roaming cancel to reduce damage down to 3 is a huge part of that. So we did have to commit 2 foundations to play it. Ryan's going to build out 3 cards. So he played 4 cards that turn, and because of that Hawk's Feather, we're going to be able to hold 3, giving us a little pseudo 7-hand size. Or do we have 4 in hand? It's hard. It's 3, right? I'm not tripping.
I think we've got 3 in hand. Oh, it's 4.
No,
it's 4.
it is
It's
4.
2 feathers.
He's shuffling too fast.
Yeah, he's got a stack. Oh, here we go. So
he's pulling a full Kibbler on us.
So Ryan chose to commit the incompatible quirk, right? Because we've been having the our committed foundations added to hand. So saying, hey, I'm gonna get this in my hand anyway, right? So I may as well just keep it committed. But in response, we're saying, hey, actually, what I want to do is commit my unique foundations, perhaps. Oh, maybe not. No, those are the only ones we're going to keep ready. Oh, my gosh. So anyway, here's the Colossal Confrontation. A move we started this conversation talking about. This is a move that people kind of skipped because of Sweeping Daggers, but it's got a crazy blitz. Ruin 3, build 1 card from your hand face down, then search your deck for 1 card and add to your hand. Any card. Not an attack, not a foundation, any card. And then it shifts into a pretty relevant foundation. Would you mind hitting the display button on the second guy? You get to flip as a first form and then commit 1 rival foundation. So it's just doing more of what this Tyner deck is really wanting to do. It's interesting that this is the evil deck and Ryan's on the order deck, right?
Right, yeah.
Because Ryan is doing a lot of kind of like silly tricky moves, right? Which I would say is more of an evil, simple thing. And Basil's doing a lot of the, hey, commit your board. Hey, commit this. Hey, get this out of
Commit
there. We're both-
everything,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. And it's the evil deck. All right, but it's being changed to high, right? Or I guess it was already high to begin with.
I was kind
Yeah.
of giggling at that because they
Interesting.
put the high marker out there, and it's already a high. So I don't know if they like.
It could be because it's this alternate rarity where you can hardly see the zone.
Correct. Yeah.
But yeah, we're
It
using
could
the
also
feather
be.
for
It
-4
might
speed.
also denote that the Hawk's ability was used to swap the stats.
Oh,
I
interesting.
don't think that's true because then we would probably not see this exact sequence of cards being played. But we've got the Fierce Wings in hand.
Okay, gotta go find something. It looks like I don't know what we're.
You know what we're missing from this format, Bromley?
What?
Missing Showdown. Where's the Showdown?
Shouldn't see it. Shouldn't. It's definitely not in our discard pile right now, but it is in the deck.
This would be a great Showdown block.
Certainly. This
Commit
would
out
be-
the rival's last 2 foundations. It is a high block, so it'd be a complete block. One of the most powerful plays at Hawks' disposal. Arguably, the reason to play evil in order over the good symbol for Hawks
right. You
is
lose
Showdown,
You lose Keikos, but you get Showdown.
which you can force the zone to be
There it
high,
is.
and it's already in hand. Always had it. Always had it.
Checks a violent animal shot. I know it's animus. I just like animal. Violent animals, like me. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna commit down our opponent's last 2 cards.
Waiting to see if Basil wanted to respond to this, which there's kind of no reason to respond, and there's kind of a reason.
I think you do, right? Because you just commit the unique that's about to be committed.
Depends on if you're willing to Ichigaki this.
Oh.
You could cancel the Showdown, which is the play that we're gonna do, which I think that's good in the long term.
Sure.
But I think it's good in the short term, I should say. I don't know if losing the Ichigaki here is actually worth keeping 2 foundations.
I don't think
ready.
so. I think especially if you're just going to be building out afterwards, there's no reason.
Yeah.
You could just commit the foundation that you're about to use, right, to pass a check, right, and
Granted, Dr. Ichigaki does not cancel keyword abilities, which is the vast majority of the win
the good effects in
conditions
the deck. Yeah.
in Ryan's deck. So while Dr. Ichigaki would save you against a lot of attacks, it doesn't cancel the powerful on Patrick Baby or Walk the Dog. It doesn't cancel the tension ability of Bloodsucking Universe, so it's not the most potent thing in this matchup, but I would usually value Team Dr. Ichigaki's ability to keep me alive better than, even the Mark Tyner response in this instance.
Yeah, I think so too. I think in that specific scenario, right, we were just, we wanted to succeed on our build because that was a big build, right? We had the confrontation turning over into a foundation plus 4 foundations, right?
Yeah.
And so at this point, we are truly ahead. We feel like we're the first player. And so that might have been worth it, right? Because if we checked poorly on our build there, it could have gone pretty badly. Oh, somebody moved it in the past? You spoke to them?
We went through the timelines.
Yeah. Okay, wow. Okay, so plays. Did we just pass turn here? Holy smoke. So it just fails the Patrick Baby and says go.
Correct, because Mark Tyner does not have the clause
And
that if you fail the check, your turn doesn't end. So he was basically forced to commit too many foundations, commit more than half your stage,
right,
or end the turn. And, this is why people are afraid of the Mark Tyner deck. This is why it's in a lot of people's minds, is because that is a really awful way to get your turn skipped.
All right, let's put Mark Tyner on the board real quick, if you don't mind. Because this is a character that we haven't really seen, right? Because it was in the last champion badge.
Yeah, it hasn't been legal.
We certainly have seen our Mitchell Chiminos. We've seen our Nick Reagans, right? But this guy lets us play 2 unique cards, right? And then twice per turn, you can commit a unique, and after anybody makes a check, give it +2 or -2, right? And, I mean, after they fail a check, gain a health. Okay, so we did gain a health and went to 26. Whoop. Oh, no, we're at 25. Never mind. Whoop. You already did it. But, yeah. He's a very potent defensive character, right? And breaking the game, right, ignoring unique rules means you get to do some pretty nasty stuff, especially where assets are concerned. Most assets have that unique keyword, and it lets you play around with them a little more successfully. But yeah, you can definitely see where Basil's mind is at for this specific matchup. Saying, hey, I want to keep my opponent down. I want to keep my opponent on low resources because my character needs to go long and doesn't give stats really apart from speed, quote unquote, right? But yeah, we got to rely on the power of individual attacks like Patrick Baby's. I would assume we're going to have to see a feather here used for speed, reducing it down to printed speed, right? Going to go to block perhaps. Let's see what Ryan's got. Could block with that 2 mid block in our hand, right? Boy, howdy.
Second feather.
Yeah, I think the feather was used to block. No?
Yeah,
So,
I think we're
okay.
blocking. Yeah, we're
Okay,
getting
we're
the check
using
hack.
yeah, doing the check hack with Mark Tyner. So that's the first activation for turn.
The Colossal
on a
checks
10.
a 3.
Okay, we can only use one of these responses, and that means we can't use it offensively. Well, I mean, we can't use it on the check to block.
We can't use it for fake speed.
Yeah.
If we decide to, it looks like we might be saving our response.
Wow. So
I don't know. Yeah, it's kind of hard to tell. He might have said respond Tyner and committed those.
7 cards. That's
7,
3 plus 7 is 10. So we did not use the second Mark Tyner response, even though one of those cards was unique.
Yeah.
So yeah, really valuing the speed.
Importantly, you can block with a foundation, and Mark Tyner cannot hack that check.
Correct.
So if you block with a foundation card, he cannot -2 the check. However,
on the flip side, though, Hawks has his swap available, right?
That
involves
too.
no checks. And so that's the thing.
Well, what I was also going to say is almost no Hawks player holds a non-attack mid block. Because Patrick Baby's a mid.
Yeah.
Bloodsucking Universe is a mid.
Hawks
Big Fist Bass
Feather
is a mid. And then the Hawks Feathers are 2 mid blocks you get every turn. So the likelihood that you hold that many mid blocks that are non-attacks is super unlikely.
Yeah. So mid is the zone, huh? If you're
Yeah.
Mark Tyner.
if you're Mark Tyner specifically in this matchup.
Man. So I guess we're gonna be building after this, just saying, hey, debuild you 1, debuild you 2. Gonna use the feather to -4 speed.
Yeah, neither of these decks pumping stats incredibly well unless it's explicitly spending momentum during Patchwork, baby.
Right. Boy, howdy.
It might not be Sweeping Daggers or Filled Without keeping Colossal Confrontation down. It might just be the 9 difficulty is that fair.
Search any card from your deck is warping.
Right.
Right? And so that's the thing that's pretty cool about these high difficulty moves is that they get to just like kind of fundamentally break what is available to you in terms of effects. Gonna ready the incompatible quirks.
But they have to be worth it, Bromley. And right now, this Colossal Confrontation is not looking like it's worth what we committed out for.
No way. It's gonna be a build, right? I understand you put your opponent to 3 foundations, right? Yippee, Yahoo. Whoa, took 7 from it.
Yeah, we're looking for the...
Didn't even use Hawks' swap there. Really respecting that we could potentially play a move afterwards, or maybe just saying, I don't really care, I guess.
Well, it's a 10 damage move, right?
Right, we could have Hawks to swapped it because you give it -4 speed.
Yeah.
It's a 7/10, so it could have been for 3. Correct me if
Right.
I'm wrong.
I don't know where the stats got pumped back into it or not.
No, it definitely didn't. It didn't get swapped, right?
Well, then how did it deal
7? Oh,
Because if he's got -3 speed, and then maybe he swapped it prematurely.
I think the answer is that I missed something, and I'm pretty dumb.
Yeah, because I don't know. I don't know if we swapped it to be 10 for 7.
And then used Hawk's feather.
Yeah, I don't know what we would have used the feather for after that. Did he cancel the feather? Maybe he canceled the feather. And there's normalcy, right?
Oh,
Is that moment of normalcy under the face sound?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he used the feather. It got normalcy. Then he swapped.
Okay. That makes sense. We were just asleep at the wheel. Okay.
We can't hear what the players are saying, man. They're just moving cards.
Yeah, sometimes we miss little things like that. But
They're just moving cards.
It's a good thing I've got Super Sleuth Sam Tate with me.
I've had a lot of practice at trying to figure out what exactly is happening on a screen.
Yeah. And I for one,
you should see some of the Ace Arenas, man. It is tough to tell what's actually happening.
especially when you don't have Brian's incredible setup overhead, right?
Yeah, you've got my janky at home. We've got UniVersus at home set up. Yeah. And I'm just like zooming in on cards, like trying to figure out why are they doing this? And then you find out the players just read the card wrong and you weren't wrong.
Right.
You know?
Well, we've got a kind of an inversion of what happened in the first game where Basil has the developed board state and Ryan is catching up, right?
Yes.
So those King of Illyrias have been successfully keeping him down, but can we capitalize with enough of these patchwork babies to push through? That was a question. You have an answer? I'm just kidding. I don't know. That's a question.
I'm trying to figure. I was
good.
assessing if we could or not because my initial answer was, yeah, look at all the foundations we have, but that's not really going to change how much offensive pressure you can put on Hawks. You know, Hawks is similar to Rodan, a really good character at playing defense without the stage. However, it's usually based on how many feathers you have and the once per turn stat swap.
Yeah, the worst version of this turn for me would be double King of Illyria, build 5 pass. After the patchwork, I would have wanted to play another move.
That's the thing is this Mark Tyner deck definitely seems like it's trying to win a long-term tempo play. You know, a long-term tempo game.
Yeah, capitalize on a mistake your opponent made.
Yeah, and I just realized for anyone who's just tuning in, Ryan Levine is up a game. We don't have it marked on the screen.
Yeah,
but Ryan Levine is up a game.
Yeah, it is Basil's game to win. He needs to win in
Yeah,
order to
got
bring
that
it
sorted
to
for
parity.
you.
Thanks.
Just in case, because we're getting down to 10 minutes left in the round.
Yeah.
And so whether or not you are up a game is going to be really, really important. And, you know, I hate to sound like a broken record on stream, but it just feels like all these stream matches we have go to time so often, and it becomes a relevant part of the conversation of, you know, how much time is it going to take you to actually kill your opponent if your game plan is debuild you 2 pass.
Right.
You know?
Oh my gosh, going for another colossal confrontation on a 10. Are we going to use Mark this time? We checked a 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so we used...
Which I feel like these are 2 colossal confrontations we held for like 5 turns.
He had
right?
3 of them, yeah, at some point.
Yeah, they're just holding them forever.
Yeah. Okay, so it looks like we did use one of the Mark Tyner responses here, which is why there's only 4 foundations committed. But we're going to build from hand and then go look into our very tiny
Our 5
deck.
card deck.
Yeah.
Our second hand, it's only 6 cards.
Well, so what do you think? Do you think we're going to try to push for the game here?
I think you have to. I really think you have to. I think not only because you are this far ahead, right? And you've basically gotten to skip a turn.
But if you pass back, you could.
But if you pass back, Ryan could play 5 attacks, 2 of them are feathers, and it takes 10 minutes anyways.
Right.
So if you want to get another turn in, I think you have to go now, because if you manage to knock him down low enough, right, then on the next turn you can finally put the nail in the coffin, and that's what I think you're really looking for.
Yeah. I agree. Using the Kings of Illyria here is just like, at a certain point, you've debuilt enough. You need those foundations in order to kill your opponent, right?
Yeah.
Or get a shot at it. So, well, I guess we'll see what we picked up. I think it might have been a Pale Rider, which would be on a 7 and then a 6, right?
Yeah.
With the drive, with no momentum. I think it's a...
It's not a terrible game plan, but it's not what I would want to risk my tournament life on.
Yeah, well, and also I wouldn't want to debuild myself too
Right.
before doing that.
Looks like we got the normalcy being used again here.
Yeah.
Trying to protect the stats on our 9 difficulty attack that we paid hard for.
Yeah, I would assume that the swap is what we're waiting for. It's the only thing we're going to use the moment of normalcy for. Use the once per turn. Oh, wow. Okay. And then we took another 7. So there you go.
And no follow-up. The imprisoned coming in here. A little late in the game for an imprisoned. A little late for the double King of Illyrias. I get the vision. I just think that it's a little too slow, and it's specifically not strong into
this specific
Hawks deck. Yeah. This Hawks deck is so okay with reviewing an attack because it knows it'll get them back. It knows it'll get the feathers back, right? So it's okay with reviewing attacks and rebuilding and waiting to deal one big string. And I think also Ryan Levine's play style, I think, is a one string, not necessarily a combo kill in our game, but it would be a combo kill in other games.
Yeah.
And those who don't know, Ryan Levine's a very accomplished player in
Yu-Gi-Oh,
other card games. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think it really fits his playstyle for how he identifies win conditions in traditional draw 1 per turn games, where if you can play your whole hand in 1 turn, you're probably going to win that game. You know, it's pretty rare that if you play 5 or 6 cards and go handless, you don't win the game in other card games. And it's almost guaranteed that you're going to lose if you do that in UniVersus. So very, very different dynamic here, but we've got the imprisoned plays in. Ryan's on a small board. He's not going to be able to be very aggressive here. And this is what I was talking about, where I really wanted to see 1 or 2 more attacks from Basil, right? Because imagine if we just dealt 5 more damage. The difference between trying to deal 7 and trying to deal 12 through a Team Dr. Ichigaki is huge, specifically because Basil has no damage bump.
Yeah.
None of these moves are swinging above printed. And so when you've got printed 10 damage moves and you've got printed 5 damage moves, and I guess Patrick Baby is, kind of a 5 damage, not a 1 damage move, the math for dealing a, full damage and then a partial, way different now. We have to hit him basically 3 times. And that is not something we've done all round.
It's so funny to see boards like this where people are really relying on base stats on cards and what the attacks themselves can do, because it feels remarkably similar to what was going on, with a couple of exceptions, at last year's World Championship. I watched a lot of gameplay as the judge, and a lot of these order decks were just like, yeah, my walk the dogs for 6 or 9. And then they just
and
got
everything else is printed for 4.
I mean, you had Ymir, right? Ymir, who can make 90 damage, 7 attack string sort of moves and things like that, right? You had ponies. They did exist. But even Pony was like, here's my 5 damage move. Here's my 4 damage move. Here's my 5 damage move.
Here's a million printed moves.
And so I just
even
feel like,
the Midoriyas back then, unless they were willing to win the game,
right,
they were playing printed damage moves as folks.
Yeah, and so it feels ripe, right? I know it's round 2, right? But it feels ripe for somebody like an Irwin or a Peak, to come in and just prey upon them with big boards that can be fueled into something like Greater Goal, right? The water symbol is not as popular as I was hoping it was going to be at this event.
Oh, for Guardian of Chinatown.
Yeah, for Guardian of Chinatown, which is really the thing that would still be my for the death symbol damage reduction stuff. But those damage reduction tools also flex offensively, so I would not be surprised to see peaks later in this tournament.
Yeah, if you remember, I was not that big on Guardian Angel of Chinatown until I played against it like one time. And then all of a sudden it was like, oh, I guess this is just like a really free answer to like 5 cards I have in play.
Yes.
And I'm surprised that it hasn't been a little more relevant, but I do think it's like strictly down to which characters have water. And I think the only super relevant character that has water is Godzilla.
Yep.
I'd have to go back and look at our breakdown, which I think we have an updated breakdown for after this round.
Yeah.
I think we forgot a character on the breakdown, so we're going to have some updated information for you. But yeah, I think it just comes down to name a water character that's made like top 4 that isn't Godzilla. And, there's just maybe one other in the whole year of regionals.
Yeah. Well, going to gameplay, we do see the one tension move in our deck, right? The Behemoth Typhoon being used. Ryan using his Team Dr. Ichigaki to cancel Moment of Normalcy so we can ignore this move. Going to be blocking, it looks like, with the Patrick Baby. And which is kind of important, right?
Do we hack this check and force it? I think you have to.
You got to, right?
You got to take damage.
If you're trying to kill, you gotta.
There's only... No, we're going to let the partial happen.
Yeah, it is a partial, right? The Behemoth Typhoon is a 5-speed move. Oh, no more attacks.
Even more interesting to not force the damage through them.
Yeah. If you were just going to build, there's no reason not to make your opponent make a decision, right? Because they could choose the wrong.
You've got double uniques for their turn.
Yeah.
And we're not doing the Illyria D build anymore.
No. Yeah, I feel like the ship has certainly sailed at this point now. Yeah. I can't imagine a world where Ryan doesn't take a 2-minute turn.
Right.
But I do think this deck is cool, right? It's another evil deck that's kind of trying to exploit early aggression.
It's trying to exploit a resource loop.
Yeah.
Like a resource game plan that a lot of players are not familiar with. And there are decks who I think would struggle a lot to play around this. You know, your Godzillas, even your Mikasas, right? If you can double debuild Mikasa's hand, and they don't get to review, they get to draw 1 card for turn, and it's all foundations in their hand. You skip to their turn. You know that deck does not want to build. Yeah. Though at least the way most people play. I know you have a Mikasa deck that loves building, but the average Mikasa player is not here to rebuild the same foundations over and over. And it's pretty easy to get them to commit them throughout a turn because they're trying to destroy them. And also, King of Illyria in that respect
denies the draw.
Yeah, if Mikasa only commits 1 foundation to play an attack, they have to destroy it immediately, or else you're just going to add it back to their hand. And then what do? Do you destroy a ready foundation? That doesn't feel very good.
Yeah, it's very cool, this deck, the way that it's pointed at, Mikasa, right? But you can't just play into your favorite matchup every single round. Sometimes you got to play into the stuff that is doing something similar to you, right?
Right.
And so that's unfortunately what happened here, it looks like. But on Hawks' side, we see we're going to open with that blood-sucking universe again, right? I know we've only seen it twice this match, but it's a 4X in this deck, right? Is that less than 5 minutes in this round, Brian, or less than 5 minutes in... Okay. I know it's for us, but I needed an answer to the question. So, yeah, I really like that the blood-sucking universe is a 4X in this deck, right? It fuels its momentum twice, right? The tension can be used offensively to clear cards from our card pool, right? And also defensively to reset stats or move the zone, right? It does so much. And so this is a card that I really, really like. I do think, personally, when I was going through the Guilty Gear set, I said this is, I think, the best card here. People were pointing at Megalomania, right? They were looking at the character cards. They're looking at all the ally moves you could put in Bridget. And I was like, no, I think this is the best one. This 5 difficulty functionally blank throw.
Yeah.
I think it's going to see the most play. And so I'm pretty happy. I'm stoked to see it. But yeah, there we go. We're going to wrap it up.
I think it's one of the most fun to build around, but
well, I think you don't need to build around it. It
Yeah,
does
that's
the
fair.
job by itself, right? If you have the symbol for it, it can be thrown in your deck. And it's just, what, even if you don't use momentum, you can use momentum for the tension, right?
Yeah, but we are going to see the scoop up here, and Ryan Levine's going to take down round 2.
That's
kind
right.
of winning, I guess. It felt like an order off, but it was order versus evil.
Yeah.
So, but that was really interesting gameplay as far as the back and forth. We didn't get a climactic conclusion. We didn't get a big bombastic finale, but so far our first 2 rounds have gone pretty long. Both have gone pretty much to time, Hopefully we'll get a more aggressive match. I know a lot of people are probably in the chat asking for the Mikasas, looking for, some 6-hand size aggro. There might be an Aaron Yeager out there. Aaron Yeager
Ooh,
was
a Raphael, perhaps?
he had a 100%, conversion rate, 50% for Raphael.
Yeah.
So that would be pretty cool. But we do have the updated character breakdown.
Yeah.
We mentioned that before. We've got the updated breakdown. We did miss one of the characters on that list, and that is Mark Tyner. Mark Tyner right there.
Oh, at 4.3%. Yeah,
next
there's a
to
few of
the
those
Grog.
in the format. A few guys on that. Grog at 5% is a surprise to me.
Yeah, Grog and Sung Jin Woo kind of switch places
Right.
around Mark Tyner. So we've got the updated information for you there, which I think I mentioned it when we saw the breakdown with Barrett. I was like, I'm very surprised Mark Tyner's not on this breakdown because of how many people I know were bringing it, how many people talked about it, but not that surprising. But we've got updates for KOF, your KOF store locator. If you guys need to find pre-release info, if you got to find a store that's packing the KOF Challenger decks, you can use !find UVS LGS in the chat so you can locate a store where you can buy UniVersus product and hopefully play some locals, get in on a pre-release. Godzilla's coming up. If you sign up for that pre-release before the end of the month, you can get the bonus loyalty points, Reign of Kaiju. Available now if you are at our super pre-release here at Worlds.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to have to wait to get in on the fun on March 6th. Pre-releases everywhere March 6th, and the full set release is March 13th. So a little more than 2 weeks away. We're about 2 weeks away.
We're close.
I'm really excited for that. I've gotten to open some Reign of Kaiju today. Have you opened any Reign of Kaiju yet?
No, there's another Godzilla set.
Yeah, Reign of Kaiju. Godzilla right here. Do you want to open some packs?
I would love to.
All right, here's a pack. Let's. Oh wait, you got to do your picks.
So
You haven't
I
done your
picked. Yeah,
picks.
Tam sent me a thing. He said pick my favorite Godzilla cards. I said Unmatched Power because it makes big move bigger. Battle for Dominance because draw card good, and Golden Death because Golden Death.
Oh, Bromley, those are the
You're telling
Challenger
me
deck
there's
cards.
a new Godzilla set?
Yeah, these were favorite cards from the new set.
Whoa! I picked the wrong cards, huh?
Well, I guess we got to go find you a favorite. You got to.
All right, let's open some packs.
You got to pick at least one card from this pack to be one of your favorites.
All right, let's see.
You know the pro way to do it?
No.
You got to flip it over, right? And you got to take the back 3 cards.
Okay.
And put them in the front. That way your rare is the last card.
Okay, I see a character.
Yeah, so that's yeah.
I got a
The
power
back of the
token.
power-
That's
yeah.
my new favorite card.
So it should
Power
be-
token.
Yeah, so it's the one card back and then the power token, then you know you
Okay.
did it
All
right.
right. Bringing it. Look. Here's the glare for the boys at home. Sorry. Okay. I got Can't Escape Me. It says stuff.
Yeah,
I've got
we're not reading them out. We don't
unnatural
have time for
growth.
that.
It says, I know what they say. This is a bit. Invade from space. Whoa! Crashing down like me after this game. I've got built for battle. Sorry, Brian. Okay, I got multiple interlocking rock. That's a good name. Multiple interlocking rockets. Okay, I got low guard. Oh baby, low guard. It's got a low block. We got drawing power. Like me, when I draw, I am powerful when I draw. I've got Biolante arrives. I got the boy, the Destroyer.
Destroyer.
And my rare,
Oh.
Batra arrives. After your rival plays an ability on a foundation, cancel. What the frick?
I almost picked that as one of my 3.
That
Batra
card's
arrives was
crazy.
close, yeah. All right, I'm not gonna
got?
read them out.
Okay.
I'm not that guy. I'm on
You
the
should do
opposite
that.
side now.
Oh, I want to read card names.
No, because then I'd have to be able to read them off the screen.
Well, then what's the point then? Just go straight to the rare.
Well, I mean, look, this is how Barrett did it. He set the precedent. This is how everyone. I always feel that way about just go straight to the rare. Okay.
Sorry.
I'm with you. I prefer it that way. But there's a meta. There's a meta.
Crushing. You got the UR. No
I
fair.
I got one of the URs. I
No
got Crushing
fair.
Impact.
Well, that's not my favorite
one
card.
of the best looking. No?
You know, no. My favorite card is still History's Greatest Monster.
You don't
from
like-
the original and better Godzilla product, obviously. No, this one's really cool. Have you seen Crushing Impact? This guy is crazy.
Here you go.
My favorite Godzilla card. History's Greatest History's Greatest Monster. That's my.
Hero's Greatest Monster. Is that what we were calling it earlier?
No, I have a local. His name is David.
Uh-huh.
And I've called it History's Greatest David since it came out because he puts
Well,
4 of
that's
this in
true, yeah.
every deck. But
Hey,
yeah,
man, 5 diffs are
look at
cool.
this. You can flex on your opponent. You can take a flashlight and direct it down onto it, and it will reflect into their eyes, and you can vanquish them that way. It's so shiny.
Is that legal? I don't think that's legal. Don't do that.
Well, not in America.
Don't
but
do that at a tournament.
Anyway, we'll be back with some UniVersus gameplay, perhaps in the 3rd round of day 1 of the World Championship. And I'll have new picks for the Godzilla, real ones. Not that mine weren't real. I liked mine. Bye, Brian. Bye.